What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for the Real Housewives of Potomac season 4 finale, part 3. And so, you know, this is the part that I guess everybody's been waiting for, honey. They talking about Michael. So let's just go ahead and get it started. So all the guys come out on stage. Poor Giselle, she the only one that don't have a man sitting behind her. But I guess next season she will. I guess Jamal Brown will be back there with her next season, baby. Anyway, they started off with a nice little cute montage of all the little flirting, funny moments of the women all season with their husbands, flirting with their husbands, and all that good stuff. They talked about Karen with the tongue thing, and Juan and Robin with excuse me, with the doing it like bunnies, and even Katie offering for the threesome. Now when they asked Juan about that threesome, Juan said, I wouldn't do a threesome with Katie. They were like, wait a minute, you ain't say you wouldn't do a threesome. He said, well, you got to keep it spicy, right? I said, okay. And Karen said, Juan, you my kind of man, so what you and Uncle Ben been over there doing, Karen? So the funniest part about that whole piece was that Andy got his little face he got his little face hurt when I guess he thought he was going to put Robin on the spot or embarrass Robin or put Juan on the spot. He was like, Juan, while you were backstage, Robin said that we asked her how long, do we think it would be before we heard wedding bells. Are you curious as to what she said? And Juan was like, yeah, I'm curious what she say. Well, she said about a year to a year and a half. Juan said, that could be it. That could be true. He said, we talk about it all the time. So, anything's possible. I said, that's what you get, messy ass. Because I know Bravo Andy was waiting for Juan to be uncomfortable and sort of kind of like give Robin that side eye. Like, good and well, we ain't getting married. Like, that's what he was waiting for. Bravo, because even if y'all not talking about it, bravo Juan for having Robin's back, okay? Now, you might have yanked her up backstage and was like, good and damn well, we ain't getting married in a year. But at least you ain't bravo, Juan, bravo. Now, the rest of this stuff, y'all, it is what it is. Like, I feel like we've talked it to death. I feel like we've done it to death. At the end of the day, you either believe Michael or you don't. The reality of the situation is, though, nobody on that stage believe Michael except for Ashley. And I question whether she really believes him or she just being a good wife. We're going to leave it at that. What ends up coming out is they go back to the butt grab from season 1 and they argue about whether it was a grab or a hit. And then he going to try to say, well, athletes do it all the time. Chris and Juan kind of were like, what? Like athletes, Chris said, yeah, on the field, on the field we do that. Like, we don't just walk around slapping each other's butts at cookouts. That's not what we do. You hit a touchdown, you get a good sack. In basketball, you hit that 3-pointer, you hit that free throw. It's a celebration that is acceptable on the field of play, not at the cookout. Then they said that in that footage, that unseen footage, that part of that was Hank, and Mike tried to say, which is Monique's brother, and Monique said, well, I asked him, because Mike tried to say, well, me and him had that relationship. We played with each other back and forth with the whole, butt thing back and forth. And Monique was like, well, I asked him, and he said that he don't remember y'all having that. He don't remember y'all playing like that. He don't play like that with you. That's what I heard That's what I had heard Monique say. That Michael said he don't play like that. Hank said he don't play like that with Michael. Then they went on to talk about the night that of the party of Ashley's uncle's party, where supposedly Michael made that comment about sucking somebody's peen. Supposedly there was another butt grab, and that same cameraman complained to HR, and HR ended up calling Chris. See, so what that means is, it doesn't mean that Michael is guilty, but it does mean that a complaint was filed, because HR don't just call people out the clear blue. Somebody had to file a complaint, and they called Chris because Chris was there. Candace's Chris, not Monique's Chris. We know Monique wasn't at that party. And Chris said that he was honest, and he told HR that he didn't see anything, but there was a complaint by the same cameraman. So, and then of course they dealt with the comment Juan was like, I ain't in it. I'm not commenting on it. I'm not talking about it. I'm not addressing it. But basically, it came down to, excuse me. Ooh, it came down to one. Michael was trying to make it seem like Robin was just so drunk that she just couldn't remember what she heard, and he never said he didn't say it. He said Robin was drunk. She couldn't have remembered me saying it. The music was loud. Nobody heard me saying it. Candace couldn't have heard it because I don't even talk to Candace and I wasn't around her. He never said he didn't say it. He just kept coming up with all these reasons why everybody's lying about him saying it or lying about hearing him say it. I remember Michael coming right out and saying, I did not say that. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I don't remember hearing him just flat out deny it. I heard him come up with all these reasons why people were lying about him saying it. Same thing with the footage. Andy was like, do you want to explain the footage? And he starts talking about he's ashamed of these women and the way that they behaved all season was just shameful. And how could they do this and how could they do that? And then and then he got to the point where he didn't want to talk to anybody. Him and Chris got into it. Him and Robin got into it. Him and Karen got into it. And at the end of the day, one thing that Candace's Chris said that I thought was valid, he said, so you're supposed to have all of the benefit of the doubt and nobody else is supposed to have any credibility. So we're supposed to just automatically believe what you said because you said it, and nobody else is supposed to take anything else into consideration. And just because you said it, we're supposed to just say, oh, okay, it happened or it didn't happen. And he's right. Like, it's sort of that saying, are you going to believe what I said or your own eyes? Like, we saw it and we heard the cameraman, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Everybody not lying on you, Michael. Everybody is not lying. Now, all of a sudden, everybody got a story. Everybody's not making that up. Everybody's not lying on you. Nobody hates you that much to just come up with all these excuses to blame you for, all this. And then he tried to say, well, they said it was sexual misconduct. I mean, it was just a pat on the butt. Andy was like, that's kind of the same thing. Like, then he tried to say that it's cultural because in his country, people aren't as uptight. And so Andy was like, so it's cultural? Like, so in Australia, y'all just walk around slapping each other on the butt? No, I mean, but people just don't get so offended by stuff. Oh, okay. So people are not supposed to be offended. Okay. And when it was all over said and done, like I said, this went on for the majority of the episodes, them going back and forth. And I'll be honest with you, I ain't about to sit here and rehash that whole daggone thing. At the end of the day, you believe what you believe, and, of course, Ashley's going to stand by her man. That's her husband. She's supposed to. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and, I shouldn't say she's supposed to. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I understand why she did it. Because if you think he's guilty, you're not supposed to. But Karen said, Ashley, I 100% believe that you think Michael's innocent. And that's part of the problem. I don't necessarily think that's part of the problem. She believes her husband's innocent. I don't necessarily think that's part of the problem. Now, I think the problem is that you act like other people aren't supposed to have a difference of opinion. And Michael was very arrogant, but Michael's always been arrogant. They act like this just started this year. Michael's always been arrogant. Michael's always had a holier-than-thou type attitude. He said that, nobody reached out to him when it all went down. And they were like, we weren't supposed to. Like, first of all, you're not our friend. Well, in Australia, I mean, when you just call your friends when they're going through something. Again, that's not an Australia thing. But it's not appropriate for women to just be calling their friends husbands. If they reached out to Ashley, then by proxy, that concern, it is what it is. But you don't just, and Monique's Chris said, well, I did call you. I did reach out to you. And then he just kept going back to what nobody else did. So, and like Giselle said, well, that was appropriate. It was appropriate for him to call you. It wouldn't have been appropriate for Monique to call you. Like, that's just not, you know what I mean? I agree with that. I probably wouldn't, if it were me in that situation, I wouldn't have called Michael. Like, why would I have called Michael? I call Ashley. That's who my friendship is with Ashley. And, yeah, each other and y'all are associates, but, nah. Don't be calling my man. You got something to say, you can call me. I'll talk to you about it. What you want to know? I just want to make sure I'm getting all my notes, y'all. Now, Monique and Candace had this moment where they made up. And it was cool in the moment. But at the end of the day, they still going back and forth on Twitter. Well, I should say Candace is going back and forth with Monique on Twitter. So I don't think it lasted past the reunion because it seemed like they still going back and forth. I don't know. And then Karen and Ashley got into this really, really bad argument towards the end. And once again, it came down to Karen not believing Michael. Point blank. Karen not believing Michael. And it was another point where Michael said something about he should have pressed charges against Ashley for pulling a knife on... against Candace for pulling a knife on Ashley. And Candace still want to keep having selective memory. She said, well, she was trespassing. And everybody was like, no, Candace, you pulled that knife on that woman before you asked her to leave your house. Let's not keep acting like it happened after. It did not happen after. You pulled that butter knife on that child before you asked her to leave your house. Now, yes, she did keep coming back, and that was inappropriate. But let's not rewrite history. Let's not make it seem like one thing happened that didn't happen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, either at this point, either you believe Michael or you don't. Either you see his point of view or you don't. I think that I'm just one of those people that's of the belief that where there's smoke, there's fire. And I do believe, especially we see it all the time happen, once one person makes an accusation, then a lot of people who had it happen to them, they feel empowered to speak. So I am not going to automatically say that makes Michael guilty. But the fact that now everybody got a story and now that everybody's talking, for me, it lends a little bit of credibility to say, well, everybody not lying on you. Like, everybody's just not making it up and lying on you. What did they have to gain by lying on you? You know? So, anyway. And then they had this part at the end where everybody was still mic'd up. And Michael was trying to, I guess, chastise Robin and them, saying that this goes beyond this show. Basically, what he was saying was these accusations have affected my business outside of this show. Okay. If you're guilty, that's fine. If you're not, you cleared yourself. Like, the charges were dropped or whatever, the complaint was dismissed, and it is what it is. And I understand that once you're accused, it's hard to sidestep that. Like, I do get that, but at the end of the day, I mean, you were found, you know, the charges were dropped. But you know, Michael was talking to Ashley, and Ashley told him, before you get to talking, I'm mic'd and the cameras are rolling. So I don't know what Michael was going to say, but Ashley stopped him real quick before he said whatever he was going to say. And then he was like, well, I got Robin right. I mean, I got her in line. I mean, she crossed the line. And I was like, oh, Lord. So we'll see what, if anything, carries over into next season, honey. It looks like Miss original Real Housewives of Potomac, Sharice, is back, at least at the very least a friend of the show, because she wasn't on last season, but she was in a lot of scenes last season, and she was considered a friend of the show last season. And this season we did not see her at all, but we see that there already been some filming where she's involved. So I don't know if she's back. I don't know if she has a wine glass or if she's just a friend of the show. But it'll be interesting to see it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's it. I'm done. I'm done talking about Michael and his butt grabbing. I'm done. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.